Hello, beautiful souls. Wow. Okay, so this has been a busy couple of months for me, and I just had a minute by myself. That hasn't happened very often. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about these energies and what I'm noticing in this. I'm going to call it the Eclipse Portal. But what I've noticed, since Lionsgate and with the new moon and the total solar eclipse that just happened. Yeah, wow. So let me compose myself for a minute here. It's like, what? There's been so much coming up for me to look at. So it's like hard to even figure out what to even say first. One of the things that I am struggling with during this time is the idea, and this is nothing new, but the idea that our perception creates our reality. And so, I don't know about you, but reality has felt very dense, hard, and I have been feeling these waves of intense insecurity. And I know it's collective. I mean, it takes me a minute to be like, what's going on? Now, don't get me wrong. I feel like I am being asked to make some big changes in my life. And I don't really want to. But there comes a time where you're like, okay, this does not feel comfortable. I'm going to have to do something about it. And that's where I'm at. So what I keep being shown is that our perception creates our reality, and that I keep coming across these weird things. It's usually on social media, and somebody's talking about something, and I mean, it's not super insightful, but it's a different way of seeing something. And then by noticing that, I am able to see myself and maybe what I've been through in a completely different way. I wrote about this morning, but this whole thing about, I saw a little bit that Jamie, how do you say it? Premack Sullivan, the coffee talk lady. I came across her when she wrote her book. It's something like The Southern Education of a Jersey Girl or something like that. And anyway, it was I thought, and this is over 10 years ago, but I thought it was a really good book. It was really well done. It was insightful in a lot of ways. So I followed her over the years. Now, a lot of what she talks about, I'm just not really into. I believe she's more religious, indoctrinated, but I don't know. I mean, that's just my feeling of it. But sometimes she brings up the most trippy things. Well, today she was talking about, and I normally don't see her, so today she was talking about women over 50. Oh God, please don't die. When they just riding the line. Anyway, so she's talking about women over 50 that are in marriages where they're not happy, but they decide they're not leaving. So they, instead of going through a divorce and asking for a divorce or trying to change anything. They just detach emotionally and live with their husband. Detached emotionally. And it's interesting because I have friends that do that, that are doing that. You know, they're not, you know, they've contemplated the idea of separating. You know, they're not happy. But they do not want to blow up their life. You know, make things hard, right? All of a sudden you go from 2 incomes to 1 in this economy. I understand. So, you know, I'm going to call it ease. They decide to stay together. You know, the woman, at least this is what she was saying this morning, the women, you know, like create their own little side, you know, I'm not talking about like relationship, but they have their friends and their activities, and they get all of their needs met, you know, through other avenues than their husband. And I know people that they don't live in the same room or even on the same floor of their house. And so what I've learned over the years, and this is especially since I filed for divorce in 2017, marriage does not mean the same thing for everyone. You know, some people look at it like it's a business arrangement. You know, some people are looking for love, and they're looking for their love match. You know, some people are looking for both, like a combination. And I know people that are trying to climb, I'm going to call it the social ladder. I never really understood what that means until I've met people recently that are trying to, you know, like maybe they were raised in poverty, or maybe they were raised, you know, in families where there was very little money, very little stability, very little fun time. You know what I'm saying? And so I know a lot of people that is what they are looking, that is the marriage that they're looking for, is to take them out of that reality and into another one. Anyway, and so, you know, I get it. I see all of these, you know, I mean, I am single. I am not closed to the idea of meeting somebody and, you know, starting a friendship that leads to long-term commitment. But I am not out there looking for it. Like, it is not a super high priority for me right now. And you know, it's funny because that Jamie was saying that there is a stigma to being divorced, and I know, because when I got divorced, almost everybody I knew was married, and almost all of them dropped away. Yeah, I don't know if they thought I was contagious. And I can't even believe I'm saying this, because I've known people that have been getting divorces since like the late 1980s. You know, but what I was going to say is the stigma seems extra pervasive for those of us that are divorced and we are not desperately trying to find somebody to partner up with. Like, what's wrong with us? I don't think there's anything wrong with me. except for that I see through, this societal imperative that you have a +1. And I get it better than most people, because it is expensive, man, being on your own. You're not sharing all those bills with anyone. And so, anyway, what I was saying about this whole thing, which kind of caught me off guard this morning, is that I had never, I've been kind of beating myself up about the divorce. What I will tell you is that in my then mind, I did not see another way out of how I was living what my then husband would call misery. I didn't see another way out. And that's part of why this whole thing is kind of intermingling with this perception creates reality, because I did not see all of the choices that were available to me until later, and there were other choices that I could have made. But when you get into something so deep and you're emotionally triggered, the amount of choices that you have dwindles. Sometimes I think, and this is what my guides told me, is that sometimes it's your consciousness, right, or in your soul, that is deliberately nudging you toward one way or another. And so you might not even see all the choices. You might be pushed into one particular way of dealing with a situation. Yeah. So it's weird to be on this side of it and to be like, wow, I didn't even think. Like, just stay married, detach, do my own thing, keep rolling in all that dough, and try to make my own happiness in a way that did not involve my husband. I don't know if that would have been it wasn't what I chose. So I keep limitation. So one of the things that I have been struggling with, I have an adult child that lives with me. He is almost a journeyman plumber. And when I say that, he's like finishing out, or he just finished his 3rd year, and he's just got a few more hours left and a few tests. So he's almost there to making, a big, huge jump in income. And so I've always looked at it like, no big deal, you can live here. I charge him a very little bit of rent. And I mean, he and I have historically always got along really well. So it was like not a big deal. Well, lately, and I get it, this is the preparation to jump right out of the nest. Lately, it's not been okay. And what I mean by that is, like, even right now, like I'm headed home to clean his bathroom. And I have a 2.5 bedroom house, and he happens to have one of the bathrooms that, we always, when I was married and we all lived in this house together, we always called that the boys' bathroom. And so when Colby, my middle son, moved out, that just kind of became Alex's bathroom. Well, I went in there today, and I flipped out. I mean, I've seen worse bathrooms like on TV shows, but I was flabbergasted at the lack of care, respect, cleanliness. I don't even know. Like I was feeling really angry. And so I took everything out of the bathroom. Sprayed everything down. I'm gonna have to replace some molding because it is damaged. Every single towel rack has been pulled down and just left down, like not fixed. The bathtub had like this much dirt all over on the inside, like so much so that I'm like, how do you get clean if you go in there? The toilet, I don't even want to tell you about the toilet. I mean, it looked like somebody had thrown up on it, or worse. So anyway, I pulled everything out of the bathroom. And the reason I'm saying this is because I think a lot of us are being asked to do this. And I'm going to use this as the literal. This is the literal explanation for what many of us are being asked to do figuratively in our lives. So, pulled everything out. My stuff, like there was stuff from when they were kids in there. I had humidifiers like stacked up underneath the counters with towels and extra like bath mats and like water picks and just random stuff from, and some of it was like way back, like we had diaper cream and all this stuff. Like he's like 23. So anyway, so I pulled everything out, sprayed everything down, and then I had to leave to take Maddie to improv. So now I plugged in my steamer when I left, and I'm about to go and steam clean, deep clean the whole bathroom. And I put all of his stuff in a box. Took everything out of the drawers, took everything out from underneath. I'm like, dude, this is not your fucking bathroom. Like, you are using this. I have to clean every single nook and cranny. It is so bad, I can't even tell you. So, that's what we're doing right now in this eclipse portal. We might be having these things pop into our awareness like, oh my God, what is that? So we are being asked to pull out all of the programming, all of the conditioning, all of the beliefs, all of the voices that aren't ours, that are telling us what we're capable of. Maybe the childhood wounding that we thought has been limiting us and defining us. We're looking at it, we're pulling it out, putting it all out so we can look at the whole thing and clean it. We're getting down to, that was weird. We're getting down to the studs. I'm not doing that. But you know what I'm saying? I'm cleaning every nook and cranny. So that then I get to choose what goes back in there. What is crafting my perception? And what I am going to tolerate, and what I'm going to set boundaries about, and what I'm going to settle for, and what I'm not. Because this is main character energy. Like, we are not, and I keep hearing, it's funny because it's this whole thing of main character energy, right? It's the hero's journey. Are you going to be the main character? And then I keep hearing, are you going to play second fiddle? And I'm like, what the heck does that have to do with anything? Second fiddle That's music. So, am I a supporting character? But it's weird how that works. Like second fiddle is the phrase that keeps coming in. I'm not gonna be moving through my life as second fiddle in my life. Letting other people, like this today with this bathroom, I was not expecting to do this. But I have guests and friends coming in from out of town, and they're gonna need to use that bathroom. And what's even worse is that on Saturday, I had said, hey, dude, how's that bathroom? I need it cleaned up because my daughter had a sleepover and somebody might need to use that bathroom. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine walking in there as a guest. No way. So, what are you being asked to pull out of your cupboards? Open up your drawers and turn them out. What do you got hiding in there that is just taking up space? And when we talk about consciousness and decision making and the fact that it creates our reality, what are those things that are hidden in there that are literally creating your reality beneath your awareness from in the back of the cupboard? So that's what I'm doing. I have been doing all kinds of inner work based on this kind of stuff. I mean, this is living. Something happens in the physical world and I'm like, okay, I get this. This is a metaphor for what is happening beyond the seen world. What can I learn from this now? And what can I learn from about myself? I mean, honestly, I'm going to say in every moment, but yeah. So, perception creates reality. And the cool thing about that is that your reality can change in an instant. If you shift your perspective, stay somewhat flexible, supple, I heard. You know, rigidity, and I've talked about this so many times, but rigidity of belief is not going to be helpful moving forward. Anyway, I am going to go into the abyss that is that bathroom. I hope I make it out. It's going to be disgusting. At least I have a ladybug. And so I'm going to just steam clean the whole thing with towels, so hopefully it doesn't spray back on me. And that bathroom will be clean for my friends. And when my son gets home, we're going to have a little chat. Because this is not fair. You know, it's funny. He keeps saying he's going to move out. I'm going to move out. I'm going to move out. I'm like, okay, go ahead. I'm thinking, number one, everything is so expensive and it's just going up. It sounds like a horrible idea, but go ahead, right? Like, you pay for a little bit of a room. You think you're going to float an apartment or renting a house with all of the things that go along with that? I don't know how people are making it right now. You know, everything is costing way more, and yet no income is going up. Nothing is being adjusted. In fact, most things are being adjusted downward. Here, do the same job for less pay. Or you can lose your job. Which one would you prefer? What? Downsizing. So, These are the things that are coming up for me. I'm noticing them coming up for a lot of people. Very similar themes, maybe not the same concrete example, but a lot of people who are deeply feeling like I am, empaths. Our trauma has formed us in a lot of ways, and it is our job to move forward, not to be defined and imprisoned by our trauma. We can do that. I mean, I could just roll over and be like, oh my gosh, all the things that have happened to me, I'm broken. Or I can take those pieces and try to turn them into something else. Like I said, it was brave to file for divorce. It's brave to file assault charges against your domestic violence abuser. This underlying courage is here within all of us, kind of dormant, I would say, kind of like how we say that we all come in with amnesia. We all have this courage that we can access, this strength, and it's like a soul strength. You just gotta see things differently. Be open to seeing things differently. Anyway, I love you guys. I know it's been a long time. Just wanted to pop in and share a little bit. And I was on vacation, and I think I've only done like 1 or 2 podcast episodes since I got back. I need to get back in the swing of that, but this is the end of summer. This month is crazy. And it's almost my 53rd birthday, of which I decided to throw myself a birthday party and invite all my friends. So it should be fun. Oh, anyway, I will talk to y'all later. Have a great day and take advantage of this Eclipse Portal Energy. Shake some stuff up. Pull it out of the cupboard. Take a look at it. Decide if you want to put it back. Love you guys.